Hey guys, some of the lessons in Odysseyware are asking you guys to take decimals and change them to fractions in simplest form. So if it were something like 0.4, I want you guys to read this mathematically as 4/10, because that 4 is in the tenths place. And so we can write that as 4/10 and simplify it to be 2/5. Another example, let's do 32. This is 32 hundredths, so I'm going to do 32 over 100. Both of these can be divided by 4. 32 divided by 4 is 8. And 100 divided by 4 is 25. So that one is 8/25. So there are some questions that are a little bit more complicated in Odysseyware. And we're going to be changing 0.93 with a bar notation. Now, if this didn't have the bar notation, it would simply be 93 hundredths. But since it does have the bar notation, it's not that simple. So we're going to establish that 0.93 is equivalent to x. Okay? So we want to move this decimal so that we have 93 repeating left behind the decimal, so they will cancel. So I'm going to start, and I know that if I multiply this by just 10, so if it becomes 10x, it is going to only move the decimal once, and then I don't have 0.93 repeating, I have 0.39 repeating. So I know I'm not going to have 10x. So 100x actually moves my decimal twice. So 100x equals 93.93 repeating.
If that's something that will help you out or assist you, you're more than welcome to. Also, feel free.
So it's 0.93 repeating. So I'm going to do 100x minus 1x and get 99x. And the 0.93 repeatings cancel, so I get equals 93 because I'm subtracting these. And I subtracted 93.93, subtract the 0.93 repeating. All those decimal places cancel, so I'm just left with 93. So then to get rid of multiplying by 99, I'm going to do x equals 93 divided by 99. And both of those can be divided by 3 to simplify it. So 93 divided by 3 is 31. And 99 divided by 3 is 33. So I'm going to leave that example up there and do another example. The other example I'm going to do is going to be 2 and 72 hundredths repeating. So for this example, I have two options. The option I'm going to take is I want to just kind of pretend like the 2 isn't there. So I'm just going to deal with it as 0.72 repeating. Again, we just want to figure out how to move the decimal so that only the 0.72 is left behind it. So I get x is 0.72. And then I'm going to move the decimal twice. Generally speaking, if it's 2 digits repeating, you're going to want to multiply by 100 and move your decimal twice. So that gives me 72.72 repeating. So now we're going to subtract these two equations. I'm going to do 100x equals 72.72 repeating, and 1x equals 0.72 repeating. And whenever I subtract those, again here I get 99x, and over here I just am left with 72 because those cancel. So now x I'm going to get rid of the 99 by dividing by 99. So now we need to simplify it. I'm going to come up here and work. So x equals 72 divided by 99. I happen to know that both of these can be divided to start out with by 3. So 72 divided by 3, if we can't do this in our head, 3 times 2 is 6. And then that's 12, 3, so that's 26, right? 26. So 26, and we know that 99 divided by 3, so we get 26 over 33. So this one is going to be 2 and 26 over 33. Now let's see if you guys can determine if that can be simplified. So those were just a few examples. So pretty true to 2020, I made a mistake in my division. I'm gonna own up to it and correct it. So up here, I decided to put a 6 right here, but it should have been a 4 because 4 times 3 is 12, correct? So 4 times 3 is 12, so this is actually a 24. So the cool thing is, if 2 plus 4 is 6, right? And 3 plus 3 is 6. So both of these can be divided by 3, since there's some can be. So I'm going to divide by 3 and divide by 3, and actually the final answer is 2 and 8/11ths. And what you could do to check your work is we can come up here and do 8, the numerator, divided by the denominator. And again, that's another way to do these. If they're not super easy, you can just do numerator divided by denominator. I'm going to put a decimal. How many times does 11 go into 80? It goes in there 7 times, which is 77. The difference there is what? 3. So I'm going to add another 0. I'm going to put a 0 here. 11 goes into 30. It only goes in there twice. So that is 22. And guess what? Here I go with my repeating. This is an 8. I'm back to having 80 again. So it does indeed go back to being 0.72 repeating. So I was right. So that is an example of me making a mistake, but sitting here and trying to look at it and figure it out. And I'm sorry about that. But I fixed it. And then I checked my answer. The way I figured out that my answer was wrong is I looked at it and checked my answer because I didn't think 26 looked correct. And actually 26 over 33 turned into 0.78 repeating. So that was the way that I knew I was not correct here. Oh, and the 2 just kind of jumps back in here at the end and becomes the whole number part. That's why you can kind of ignore it. You don't have to, but to me it's just kind of easier to ignore it.